Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Dom DeMeo with the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance, and we're here this morning to bring you the Blitz. I want to start first by doing a little housekeeping. A big thank you and shout out to Bank of America, who has agreed to underwrite this first ever series of the Blitz and continue their support of the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. So thank you, Bank of America. I also want to thank Pedro and his team this morning for preparing and giving a message out to you all. And then I want to thank in advance the others, our community leaders that will be sharing the messages over the next 4 weeks. So we hope you get to see today, enjoy today, and know that there'll be 4 additional sessions following in this Blitz. A special thank you to our moderators for giving up their time to assist in this effort. And a special thank you to Nida Bittman-Neville. Nida runs a consulting firm here in the area, but also took charge and chaired our subcommittee to bring on this first ever event of the Blitz and the series that will follow along. So Nida and the team at that ran the subcommittee, thank you so much. So in great Circus fashion, I'm going to say Bank of America brings you the Blitz, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark Gordon from the Business Observer, and Mark will introduce our speakers this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Dom. We got some really great speakers here, great guests. They are the Bull by the Horns winners of our Sandies, and you'll see in a minute they actually have their Sandy trophy there, which is awesome to see. I think we're all looking forward to being back in person when we can see the people holding that award. But a quick introduction. Many of you know Pedro. Pedro Reese began his circus training at age 12 in South Africa and later helped develop the first circus school there. He and his wife, Dolly Jacobs, founded the Circus Arts Conservatory. It's a nonprofit dedicated to continuing the circus arts legacy. Pedro and his act toured Europe and the U.S. extensively. In 1984, he made his American debut with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And as I said, in 1997, they founded the Circus Arts Conservatory. Jennifer Mitchell is with Pedro as well. Jennifer joined the Circus Arts Conservatory in 2008. She was then promoted. She was actually marketing and public relations coordinator, promoted to managing director in 2013, and is now the executive vice president and COO of the conservatory. So with that said, let's get started on the Blitz on some questions. Thank you, Pedro and Jennifer, for being here. And again, there's, you can all see the Sandy trophy. Yes. I think we're going to go through sort of 3 categories: connect, educate, and strengthen. And I think the power of connection is, as we all know, the Business Alliance mission and model, and you guys do such a good job of that pre-pandemic. But how have you been able to stay connected with your clients and prospects when you can't get out there? How are you staying connected with this community?
Well, I think that's just such an important point, is that through a pandemic, connection is challenging. But we at the Circus Arts Conservatory were able to use the art form and technology, like many other businesses, many other organizations, to retool ourselves and come up with different ways to communicate with our donors and our supporters. So technology was a huge piece of our pivot when we had to close operations, and obviously being in the live performance industry and event industry, it was just a quick halt. And then when you don't see your donors, you don't see your audience members, you don't want to lose that energy that exists. And the art form luckily was able to translate very well on video through technology. We've used live streaming and all of the various platforms that many other organizations have used to make sure that we keep Circus alive and thriving, and that the people who want to stay connected to it could. We also have the privilege of being able to continue to operate once we were allowed to open, and figure out ways that our mission could blossom. So we may not be seeing those large audiences and those large crowds, but actually it gave us an opportunity for some of our other programs to grow and enhance. So we kind of, pivoted, used technology, and then of course sprouted up some new programs to connect with everybody who wants to stay in tune with Circus.
Yeah, I've seen some of that, and the pivoting is impressive, and it's what, as you said, organizations have to do. Is there is there something that stands out as a particular big victory for you guys during this, what are we on, month 10, I guess, or month 11? Is there a victory that stands out?
Well, there's a couple, actually. The first one was when we were shut down, we huddled together and came up with some ideas, and we created a digital format Circus and streamed it out live. We actually had 5 different time zones, 4 different continents, and in fact, it was a huge success. We're still getting comments, and people are still viewing the digital format. And then most recently, we did our holiday show here at the arena for our Sailor Circus students. To see them perform to very small crowds in a very sanitized environment was wonderful. Just even if it was a small applause, it was still applause. The students got to perform and were rewarded. It was like spiritual, honestly, just to having achieved it and to execute it, and it was wonderful. So yeah, those are some of the victories that we have achieved.
It's really interesting too, because I think those are such memorable events, right? I mean, given the time frame we're in, these performers you're talking about, they're going to remember that forever. Not that they wouldn't remember another performance, but that's going to be special throughout their career. How are you building? How do you maintain your brand awareness? Obviously, it's digital, but Jennifer, how have you sort of handled brand awareness during this time?
Well, it's really important. In fact, I think it gave us an opportunity when you're not in the environment of constantly selling tickets or constantly getting somebody to your next event to bring your mission back to the forefront of your communication strategy. So that's what we did through these various programs. One World Circus that Pedro mentioned. All of these artists came together because they still want the industry and their art form to continue. So through that, an international audience joined us. We had more than 10,000 viewers in the live stream online. And then since then, it's been viewed thousands of times. More people connected to our brand. They saw that opportunity to learn more about the circus arts through this window. And we've also, like many organizations, used apparel as part of normally, as you can see, Pedro, we're always in our branded clothes, but we thought quickly that we should get some branded masks. And they became another way that we connected with our donors, because normally we would be sending them, clown noses and fun gifts. And this year we said, let's send them some of our apparel. So really using it in a way that's visual, that people can see, and then also bringing our mission through these digital programs and the other programs that we're doing right now, where we don't get to see so many live audience members.
The mask is a great idea. There's actually the Observer Media Group has masks branded. I have one on my desk at work, but I haven't been in the office in 9 months, so I haven't picked it up. Switching gears a little bit, you guys put smiles on people's faces, right? I mean, that's what you do. You're performers. How do you keep your own morale up? I mean, it's just a tough time personally, not just professionally for the conservatory, but you all have families and lives. So how do you keep your morale up, and how do you keep your staff's morale up?
It's really about forward thinking, and the glass is always half full. We've created bi-weekly staff meetings, and our vice president and COO has created this very fun and humorous team building sessions. Everybody gets to talk. We meet in the arena, which is a huge open space. We spread out the chairs in a big circle, and everybody gets to talk and really tell us something about you that we don't know about you. The other day we did the 3 truths and 1 lie, and it was very fun to hear what people have to say about themselves, and it was you learn a lot, and really that's a way to keep the morale up. And it's really about team unity and knowing that I've got your back, I know you've got my back, and we're going to keep moving forward.
Well, and Circus is family, in an art form, more than a business. We're a team. We work together professionally, but then there's the personal interconnections. And like Pedro said, keeping the spirit up. We accepted that we're in a new normal as an organization and as a team. We didn't say, well, when are we going to wait for the new normal? When do we open? What happens next? We said, okay, here we are. And how do we together, like Pedro said, unified, move our art form together? Because we are business people, but we also practice an art form. And that's something you have to have great passion for. So we basically said, all right, let's spin that passion a little differently. Let's be creative, because we are a group of creative people, and keep moving forward. And that helps to keep morale up.
That's great. I think I have the next performance for you guys. You guys can do a live 3 truths and a lie, because you all have led such amazing and interesting lives. Like, you could keep one-upping it. I'm boring, and when I play that game, there's nothing happening. But Pedro and Jennifer, you guys have had these awesome lives. I think that's really cool. I bet the staff enjoys that. You go back to sort of, this is more of a branding question, but how are you keeping your people connected to your vision? You know, you guys have such an important part of the arts community in Sarasota, which has such a big arts community. How do you keep people connected to what you're doing and what your mission and vision is?
Well, it's obviously changed during a pandemic, like we talked about earlier. You know, how do you keep people moving forward? I think we have the unique privilege of stewarding and preserving a heritage that Sarasota celebrates. And so in preservation, there's always thinking about the future, in my opinion. It's not the past. Preserving is really about how do you keep it going for generations to come. And so we're constantly looking at that, especially because we engage young people in our art form. We educate in local schools using Circus as a medium for science. So when we talk about connecting through the Circus, we do so through performance, through training young people who learn life lessons, and through education and outreach, where we can really impact others. So that connectivity has to happen in a lot of different places. And in the pandemic, we've been challenged with some of them. Like, for instance, our outreach program that goes to nursing homes and assisted living facilities could no longer go in. But that's okay. We decided to use technology and even the telephone and even letter writing to still connect with those people. In education, we developed lots of online programs and figured out safe ways that we could still go into the schools to make sure, and in such an important time for young people where they're feeling stifled and isolated, that we keep the Circus as part of education was important to us. So, you know, you're constantly looking at mission and vision, and just infusing and threading that everywhere has been our adaptability to connect.
That's great. The lost art of letter writing. I love that. You're moving to sort of the education side of what we're talking about today. We talked off right before we started about how, you know, you guys as performers, when the performance ends, you're looking at what can we do better next time. What are some ways that you as an organization encourage continuous improvement among your team?
Well, you know, that's a great question, and it's one of the things that we really inspire with. We have managers, and we have departments, and we have meetings, and we encourage the managers of the different departments to set their own goals and objectives. And it's amazing to see that when the team has these objectives and goals and they come together, you've got the lighting director, you've got the costumes, you've got the technical guys on the floor. And when they get together and they meet and rehearse, and the production, if you will, comes together, the outcome is outstanding. It's really about setting those positive objectives and goals and being determined to achieve those. And usually they are achieved.
That's great. What hasn't changed as a result of the pandemic? Is there anything that's normal, I guess?
Well, I think one thing that Pedro and Dolly and myself really pride ourselves on is that we have maintained the level of operations that keep us afloat, and that we have kept our team intact. Our coaching team, our staffing team, our box office team. Even when we're not selling tickets, we've been able to redirect people's passion and energy and skills into other areas. And certainly as a business, I think that we all can feel proud when you can keep your people employed. You know, you talked earlier about families and morale. Well, I think part of that is being able to ensure that people know their next paycheck is coming, especially under uncertain times. So that's something we certainly feel proud of. We've also been able to maintain, as I mentioned, a certain level of operations, although reduced. I would say that's something that we feel proud of. You know, it's good to be able to say that the art form's continuing. It may not be continuing it with as large of an impact at the moment, but we're recreating, and so that has not changed. Circus has been recreating, since the beginning of time, and we're continuing that.
Yeah, it's a good point. And On that front, this is a question I ask a lot in my professional job interviewing businesses. What's your forecast for 2021? We got 11 months. What is your forecast and projections on this year?
Well, unfortunately, we're in the live entertainment industry, and literally live entertainment was kind of shut down, right? People are still, apprehensive about going out to a theater, a building, a big top. And so we're looking at 2022 as a forward-looking objective and goal, and working towards thinking of new programs, thinking what's going to happen when we do get to 2022, making sure we're ready. We don't want to be waiting at the start line. We want to be sprinting down the track already. And again, we'll take the bull by the horns,
Yeah, realistically, 2021 is not a year that we intend or think that we'll go back to any normal operations, but we'll continue to survive.
Right.
There's a revenue stream coming in. Our team is working. We're forward thinking to our vision. And like all of our colleagues in the arts industry, we're just making sure we maintain. I think we are also thinking about and redeveloping some of our strategies so that, as Pedro said, when things open up and the industry is open, or people are starting to feel more comfortable to look for event spaces, to host lunches, we've got the best photographs of our space. We've got the best information out there about our facilities, and then it can blossom again from there. But I think it's pretty meek for 2021 if we really are realistic about a forecast.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to be realistic. You can't just we can't be dreamers.
Well, we are dreamers, but we're realistic.
We have a vision.
Yes, on the business side, and you're right, Pedro. I love that you're grabbing the bull by the horns. Good use of the award that you guys earned and worked for, and that's awesome that you're doing that. Talking about strengthening the community, how have the needs of the community shifted? What kind of changes are you making in response to these new things going on out there?
Several ways. Our programs serve children of all ages, literally. Obviously, in response to the COVID pandemic, we made a very difficult decision earlier this year, a painstakingly difficult decision to not put up our Big Top and cancel our Big Top season that takes place out at Nathan Benderson Park. Big part of an impact for Lakewood Ranch. Lots of our partners out there in the Alliance. And so that was a difficult choice, but it was in response to being a good community steward and making sure that we can keep our vendors safe, our staff, the artists safe. It was difficult because a lot of people are impacted, but we needed to respond to the current climate. On another note, as I mentioned earlier, in our outreach programs, although we can't go into assisted living facilities, we still serve those constituents and those residents and patients in different ways. So we're making sure that in response to what is allowed at the moment, we can still meet the needs of some of those people. And then I would say, related to families, it's been interesting because young people, like I said, have felt so isolated. Their schooling has changed. Some of them are remote learners. Some of them are in school. They're wearing masks all day. We have seen interest in the youth circus really expand over the last 5 years. And even in a pandemic, we have seen families who still want to find a safe outlet for their kids. And our programs are able to marry athletics and arts. And it's very stimulating and engaging for young people. But there are families who are hurting, who don't have jobs, who are financially strapped right now. And we've really been tapping into our philanthropic community to help offset the program costs for these young people to engage in our programs. So scholarships for needy families have become, very important. And it's something that we're just continuing to help steward. We want to make sure that kids who want to be part of our programs can, even if there is economic strife. So those are some of the ways that we've been trying to meet the community's needs, and it's allowed us to enhance and grow. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Your kids' programs are fantastic. I have some friends that have sent their sons to the summer camp. So you guys do really great work there. Going outside the tent, right outside Conservatory sort of bubble, what's impressed you in the business community over the past 10 months? What have you seen that other organizations, vendors, partners, colleagues, friends, what's impressing you out there about how others are being resilient?
I think partnerships. We've seen a lot of more partnerships between different businesses, non-for-profit and for-profit, and I think everybody's supporting each other. Even our donors, for example, we had to cancel our annual gala, and we've got phone calls saying, "I know you don't have a gala. I would have bought a table, so I'm going to give you the money anyway. I'm going to support you." So it's a business community. It's individuals. The community's really supported each other. I think it's a wonderful thing to experience.
And we've seen a lot of wonderful private-public partnerships that have been thriving. I mean, our friends at Nathan Benderson Park were able to sprout up many more outdoor programs because obviously that became a need. I think that was impressive. When I look downtown or in the Hillview area or Lakewood Ranch, and I see how the local entities have been able to grant restaurants more space on their sidewalks. Yeah. I find that all inspiring because it's all a way that, like Pedro said, we're supporting each other in business. And at Circus Arts Conservatory, I think one of the things we really pride ourselves on is partnership. So we work with all of the major arts organizations, and oftentimes, the arts sector can be a competitive space. And instead, many of us leaders came together and said, we need to bind together for advocacy for the arts. And in particular, actually, Sarasota is, the arts sector is a huge employment and economic driver here. And I think not enough people recognize that. In fact, when the first round of funding came through, the arts wasn't even considered. They weren't even considered in funding until we all came together and said, wait a minute, we employ a lot of people. We want to keep them employed. We want to keep our mission and our business going forward because that's important to this greater community. Many people come here because of the strength of the arts. And so we found that coming together and bringing a unified voice in business, both for-profit, nonprofit, private, government, was really important. And I am thrilled to see that those conversations are happening because all too often we're at different sides of the table. We're all fighting for the same dollar. But many came together and said, no, this is important that we support each other as a community. And that's been inspiring.
Definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's interesting to know too, you talk about, the arts community is not only so big in Sarasota, the domino effect of it, right? For hospitality, for hotels, for people who go to events and go to restaurants. I've seen that in my personal life and at the Business Observer and the Observer Media Group, how much effect the arts community has on some other businesses and entities.
And the amount of money we spend with our vendors. I mean, marketing, we spend a lot of marketing dollars. We are a huge economic engine in Sarasota.
Yeah, definitely. So we talked before about morale internally, how you're working on your employees. It could be like a grumpy time for people. What about something positive? Put smiles on people's faces. What are you guys optimistic about for 2021?
Well, okay, I'll start and I'll let Pedro finish. I mean, the circus is all, our art form and the work we do is all about joy, the spirit of giving, watching others achieve things that you think are impossible. There's a special energy around the circus arts. So I think we've had the privilege of continuing to feel that energy. And it's our job, it's really our responsibility, our honor to continue to bring that to others. I mean, I feed off of the passion of Pedro and Dolly, our founders, and many other artists who are part of our mission. And then that's supposed to go outward. That's really important. So I'm positive that that's going to continue because there's resilience, there's perseverance, and CAC will prevail in our mission. So we're always looking at the silver linings. It's how do you do that? I think the tactical part of that is really where businesses are struggling and where we all need to really be focused on. But in general, we have a little edge up because, we are not maybe the typical manufacturing company, or really at the heart of what we do is about happiness. So it's a little bit easier for us to really see, some positivity.
But also to know our vision, again, is forward-thinking, forward-looking. And we mentioned our arena space. That was a $5 million renovation project. And for the future, we haven't stopped planning and meeting with our construction management team. And we have a master plan in development. We're looking to build out on our campus. We have a lofty $25 million project ahead of us, and we're really looking to positively impact the community with this amazing training space that's going to be an international destination. That's our goal, is to make this an international destination for students from around the world to come here and say, we want to go to Sarasota because we heard it's the best.
That's awesome. Really, that is great optimism and a great way to kind of wrap it up. Congratulations on continued perseverance and resiliency. You guys are an awesome organization, and we're glad you are here and still here and won the Bull by the Horn Award. On this format, I don't know if we have questions from the audience. I'm going to turn it back to Dom, I think. Do we have questions?
We might be on our own here.
I don't know. I'm all out of questions. Let me check the question box.
Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity, Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Awesome. I think that is it. Well, congratulations again, and we're happy you're here.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Well, good morning again, all. I just want to wrap up today as we thank Pedro and Jennifer for their time sharing with us. We have 4 more sessions coming each Thursday and Tuesday. Those available dates can be seen on the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance website. And before we leave, I just wanted to give another shout out to our series sponsor, Bank of America. Thank you, Bank of America, for helping us bring this together. And I hope that you enjoyed this morning and you visit us on one of the other sessions, February 9th, 18th, March 2nd, or March 16th, or join us for all. So again, have a good morning and thank you for attending. Take care.